Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Huncho. I'm doing a quick little video recapping the trades that we took today on Spy. So the first trade we took was around, so it was at 10:18 a.m. and this were the 594 puts that we took, and this was after the whole flush down, which I do want to talk about the initial move that happened in the morning. This whole entire move, I missed it, and it was literally in my pre-market analysis where I wanted to see, right, as you guys can see, this there was a gap fill. There was a small gap from Friday, so spot gapped up, and I wanted to see if we could hold 602.15. If we were to hold above, we could see continuation to the upside, but if we were to break under here, we would probably see the gap fill, and that's exactly what happened. And even if you would have, just went from key pivot to key pivot, you would have held completely, like just runners right here would have paid you so much. This was like a 500-600% move that I completely missed, and I didn't want to catch a falling knife. I didn't want to enter and feel like I was chasing and then it flip on me, so I just wanted to let it play out and see what was going to happen afterwards, right? And then we were going to look for a play, which is what we did. We were patient, and we're going to talk a little bit about the entries that we took and why we took them, right? So this was around 10:18, so around 10:20. So it was this candle right off it was a reject off the 9. And the reason why we took this trade is because after you see a huge move like this, even if we close above the key pivot, I didn't want to enter calls unless we got above the EMAs, mainly a close above the 9, right? When it's trend days, I like to use the 9 EMA, which is something I completely got wiped out and didn't follow on Friday, which was the mistake I was making, that I was trying to catch the bottom and trying to catch the flip, because I was like, no, SPY can't drop this much, right? But you learn your lesson when you try to catch a falling knife and you try to call the bottom on trend days. It's gonna mess you up. So when you see big moves like this to the downside, if you want to see a flip, wait for confirmation. Which for me, one of the biggest lessons that I got from it was wait for a close above the EMAs, especially VWAP. But we live and learn, and we pay the price. So today what we did, we came with a different approach, and we saw rejection off the EMAs. So what did that tell me? That told me that we're probably going to see more continuation to the downside. So I took puts off of the reject on 9 EMA, so it was around here, and then we just kept holding, and it did get chopped up. The cons were moving really silly, and they only went up to like 50%. That's the highest I seen them, and that was all the way down here around 596.95, which was support level of ours, and this 596.37, which was a key pivot. And so we ended up closing the rest of our position right around the key pivot close, which was the runners were red. I took majority position out for like 40%. So majority of my position was out. I left like small runners because I couldn't see a lot of volume coming in towards the downside. So I just ended up closing the rest of the runners for a loss. And I decided to flip the calls, which was the second play that we took, which was a massive play for us. This was at 11 a.m. And this initial bounce, a lot of people were in calls, and I didn't want to get in calls because I wanted to see more confirmation because of how I got wiped out on Friday, and I was trying to catch the bottom, and the same bounce happened and ended up flipping on me, and I didn't want that to happen again. So we got two bounces, which was double confirmation that SPY wanted to make a reversal. So I mainly wanted to see for calls is a close above the 9 EMA. So right after this close above the key pivot, our key pivot 597.77, we saw this candle close above the 9 EMA, and this is when I went in calls. So right here, and also above the key pivot, I went into calls, and my stop was gonna be under the key pivot. So, it was a low risk, high reward play, and I was gonna ride this above the 90 MA and then eventually close above VWAP and just keep riding our way to the top, right? So I took the calls right around here, which is the 601 calls, and we got a little bit of resistance around 598.50, and we ended up working above and holding above that level. And then this area right here, which was at 599.25, which is another area of resistance, right? Because we got this reject here and also here as well. So, support turned into resistance. So we were watching those areas, and then we ended up scaling a little bit around like 50% at this key level, which was 599.25. So right under VWAP, right around here, we took around like 55%, almost 60% there. And so at this candle right here, and then the next candle completely like sent us to the moon. This was a big boost in our cons, and we ended up going 100% plus there, and I ended up scaling more profits there. And then the rest of my runners just kept riding them as much as they could, which is around like 600. I ended up closing a majority of my position around this chop right here. I think around here, this is when I completely left my full position. I closed out fully on the 601 calls and ended up just taking profits for the day. So whenever you see weakness and chop to the upside, especially around a key pivot, you want to take a majority of your position and just leave some runners. But obviously it was a 300%er. I was fine with profits and left small runners, and they ended up just getting chopped. So I just wanted to end the day green, and as you guys can see, it just kept chopping the whole entire day. And we got I moved to the downside towards the end of the day, but it was very choppy, so I didn't want to really go for puts. And we already took two nice green plays, so that was enough to enjoy the day, right? So those were the plays that I took today, guys. Very simple. I'm not a special teacher or anything. I'm just giving you guys what goes on in my mind when I take these plays. And that's really it for today, guys. If you guys want to see more of these type of videos of how I take my trades, my entries and exits, and even I'll start to recap even my losses and the mistakes that I make sometimes. So if you guys want to see more of these videos, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and join the Discord, Central Capital. Follow me on Twitter, ITM Huncho. Till the next one, guys. All right.